What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
Welcome to the show.
What is going on? So welcome to Wednesday's episode. So this is our weekly discussion. So Monday and Tuesday, we do our topics. This previous Monday, we talked about the cybersecurity initiative to get more people of diverse backgrounds into cybersecurity in ways that can be done. So it came from an AWS conference. On Tuesday, we talked about some low-level cyber attacks after Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan, and we kind of discussed what could have happened versus what actually did happen. So definitely tune in for that one. And then today we were discussing the TOP. So TOP stands for Traffic Light Protocol. It's used for cybersecurity responders and how it's being revamped, right? So TOP is a simple way of labeling cybersecurity information so that the recipient can easily figure out how sensitive it is and how widely it can be shared without making it much worse. So basically, it's like stoplight chart. So green, yellow, red. And it's for the sharing of cybersecurity vulnerabilities and threats. So like if your company, or I'd say, I guess it would be your company has some kind of vulnerability, how critical is it to your company's infrastructure or the customer's PII, et cetera, and can you share this vulnerability with the rest of the other companies that are adjacent to you or to your customers or to defenders? And how much damage will it cause you in doing so? So obviously, if it's a serious threat to, let's say, power plant, maybe it's going to be a red, where it's not something you should disclose to a wide audience, that way you're not attacked because of it. Or if it's something that's more benign, let's say that you're a security camera company and you have a vulnerability that's already been patched. Maybe it's a green, you can share that, hey, this was something that affected us. But that's just me trying to figure it out. It's definitely something I am not too knowledgeable about. So I definitely wanted to talk about it, but apparently it's being revamped. So somebody smarter than me, like maybe you can break it down a little bit better.
Yeah, so I'll start off. It seems like a pretty interesting. It's the first time I've really heard about it, but it makes sense. That they label these various incidents, have a little bit of a classification to make sure that. I think not only for like the business itself, but you got to imagine like even the compromise or like whatever hack that may have been used.
Yeah, the affected parties for it, right?
Yeah. And you want to be able to like make sure that if there's a vulnerability, kind of like how we have these groups, like I think maybe Google or somebody else, like they report like, oh, hey, Microsoft has a vulnerability or Apple has a vulnerability. Let's put this out, let everybody know about it ahead of time. When if people are aware of it and aren't able to patch it fast enough, that they may get compromised. So sometimes they want to actually just inform the people that are responsible for those systems ahead of time before informing the public. So I think something like that would be useful in a system like this, where you kind of categorize a vulnerability and say, hey, this can be very detrimental to an organization or to an individual if they have like we found out this banking website has a vulnerability where you can access and just remove people's funds like with a couple clicks. And if you just put that on the web, like, hey, warning, there's a vulnerability, and then all of a sudden you got these hackers like, oh, there's a vulnerability. Let me go ahead and take advantage of that before they get it patched. So if you have this kind of classification that you're, hey, this is a red alert. Don't let anybody know about this. Only we're working on it to try to get it fixed, and then we'll let everybody know about it after the fact. And then we can kind of like kind of report on it and let people know who's been affected and, the remediation steps. But yeah, it's pretty interesting system. But I'll turn it over to you, Shannon. What you think about this one?
So yeah, so like what the phrase terminology they use is responsible disclosure in the article, right? That's kind of how they go about describing it. But here's the thing with this, right? So like when you go and you look into this, right, and you look at what they're doing, so like it's the stoplight chart kind of system, right? So like when you think stoplights, right, you think red, yellow, green, right? But when they do this, it's like, okay, so you have TLP red, right? Okay, eyes and ears of individual recipients, no further disclosure, yada, 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 right? Amber, okay, you limit amber, which is the yellow, is like a limited disclosure, right? Only give it to certain people. But then they go into, okay, amber plus strict, right? Which is, okay, now you got to do, it's certain organizations this way, right? Then you got your green, right? And then they got a clear, right? So you're trying to make this easier, but like you've added more categories to it. You got a clear now, you got an amber plus strict. It's like, come on now, like let's try to make it simple. You know what I mean? Not try to remember all this stuff, about who we can disclose this to. And so, and another thing with this that kind of, I don't want to say it necessarily gets to me, but it's not. How do I want to say this? It seems like it's taking a step back from some of the stuff we've kind of gone forward on, and having stuff disclosed quickly, right? So like we kind of want this stuff disclosed as soon as possible so that people know they've been affected, right? So companies can take action. But with implementing this, it's like, okay, uh, it seems like it kind of gives them a choice to say, okay, let's make this red and not disclose it to whomever, because we haven't done whatever, right? Like that's what I don't want it to be taken as something that can be used to take a step back from where we're going, right? Because you got these companies out here now that are waiting forever, right? Like you don't know you've been exposed till you get this thing in the mail that says they gave you LifeLock, and you're like, what I get LifeLock for? You know what I mean? And it's
Everything.
too late, right? Exactly.
Get life like for everything.
Yeah. So like I just don't want it, I don't want it to be used as a step back because they just don't want to disclose to people that there was malfeasance on their part, or they just were not maybe, I mean, sometimes you just get got, right? Like, these people are smart.
Right.
Idle hands, right? So
Right.
I don't want it to be used as a way to go back, though. It's my thing.
Yeah. So my assumption, because I couldn't find it in the article, but my assumption would be any government policy would supersede it, right? So I think if you're a bank or power plant or critical infrastructure of some sort, I think you would still have to disclose to the government within a certain time frame, because those new bills that are being passed. So CISA would be on you about X or Y or what have you. But my confusion is the sharing amongst peers, right? So like you said, there's even more categories. So it's like, hey, I'm a bank, I've been hit. I have a certain time frame where I need to disclose it to the government to get help, so the Justice Department or CISA or someone can come and assist me to mitigate damages to my customers. But I don't. What happens if someone else discovers it? Like you said, like what if it's a rival who discovers it and gives you a time frame? Like, hey, you got 96 hours to like I'm warning you that this is a thing. You got 96 hours to fix it, or however. Like maybe that's a bit too fast, but I've given you X before we go and tell the world that you have an issue. Does this stop that from happening? Say, oh well, no, that's an amber, green, turquoise. Can't can't snitch on me. Like I don't understand
Plus
like that part.
strict.
Like is it self-governing?
I
That
and I don't
part I
know.
don't get.
I don't know. It doesn't really go into it in the article, right? Like the way I read it, like I don't know who's going to be more authoritative. I mean, I hope you're right, right? And like what the government
Yeah.
says, hey, if you're going to deal with us, we need it in this amount of time, win, lose, or draw.
Right. If you fit into a certain category, what I mean, like where the government has to step in to help you resolve it or to get your Bitcoin back or whatever has taken place. But yeah, it does seem like a bit much. But again, it brevity, right? That's why it was just yellow, red, yellow, green. But I can get the sensitivity, little nuances. Like same thing comes government, right? Where you have your different classifications and you have different compartments. different caveats to said information. Like you need to know this, but you don't need to know that, yada, yada, yada. So I can see them dipping their toe into that, but again, it does seem a bit confusing, but it's definitely not my sector of cyber. So like when I think stoplight chart, I think like a seam, right? Like, okay, my network is impacted in said way, right? Some dashboard somewhere is telling me like this is broken. I don't know if they share that amongst themselves. Like maybe does CERT have a dashboard of some sort? And then if so, how is that shared, right? Because you think that would be sensitive information amongst rivals, right? So I think we have more questions in this than answers in this discussion, but I'm gonna try to find somebody. So if you're out there listening and we're just talking gibberish, reach out to me so we can get you on the show and you can kind of explain how this works. As a concept, I think it's a good idea. But again, I was not aware that it even existed until now because it's just not my sector. So the upgrade seems a bit confusing, but perhaps it was something that was asked for because the original came out in 1999, right? And now we're in 2022. So I'm sure there was some issues with it that need to be resolved. So I find it interesting. Like I'm gonna look more into it. So I don't like having a lot of blind spots. This one was a complete blind spot. I didn't even know this protocol existed. So pretty cool. But with that being said, I'm bringing this episode to a close. Definitely tune in for Monday and Tuesday for our topics. Next week, Wednesday's discussion, and then go back to Skylar Hunter's Ask Us SP episode where he talks about being a script kiddie and how he's working his way towards being a hacker, red teamer, all that good stuff. And then tomorrow's episode, everything else. So if you want to hear our take on the new Predator movie, Prey, definitely tune in for that. And then a few other shows that we probably watched as well, games that we may or may not have played. So tune in for all that stuff. Hit up all of our social medias. They go by our name, the other side of the Firewall podcast. And then you can hit me up personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. I'm on Clubhouse, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. And you, LeVon?
Yeah, hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.
Take care.